Hey, what's going on, guys? Appreciate you stopping by. So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about canning lids. I've recently joined several very large canning groups on Facebook. Yeah, I know Facebook. I'll continue to say it. I wish somebody would come out with an alternative. But right now, if you want to get good information and meet up with like-minded people on whatever topic that you're interested in, Facebook to me is where it's at. And if you got an alternative that you want to suggest, put it down in the comments below. I definitely would welcome the opportunity. So on these in these Facebook groups that are related to canning, and some Reddit groups as well. So I go and do a little bit of Reddit. I'm seeing a ton of posts that are related to problems people are having with their lids. And of course, Ball is the most popular out there for canning supplies. So you see that more frequently, but I'm seeing posts where people are saying, hey, I'm having all kinds of problems with getting my lids to seal. Are you? And then you read the comments and they're talking about that they are using Ball. And you see some people saying, yeah, I've definitely seen in the last 2 years more problems with getting my lids to seal with Ball than I ever have in the past. And then you see other people say, I've done 1,000 jars this season and I haven't had any problems, and I've always used Ball. And then you see other people come in and say, well, I use Kerr and I use this and I use that. And some people are having problems, some people aren't. I even saw one comment where somebody said they've been using canning lids that they got off at Temu. If you're not familiar with Temu, it's a company that basically they say everything is made in China. A lot of it ships direct from China. They do have warehouses in the United States, but most all of it comes from China. And they said, I've been using the last 2 years lids that I got off Temu. I've had no problem. So I am not any kind of canning expert. I can tell you that right now. I've done some pressure canning. I've done some water baths, some pickles, spaghetti sauce, stuff like that. But what I am, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back or get my head too big, is I am a manufacturing expert. I've been in manufacturing for nearly 30 years. Actually, more than 30 years. And I have an immense background in manufacturing techniques, theories, processing. And so anyways, I'm looking at these lids, and I got from a few different manufacturers, not all, but a few. And I got a gross supply. So not just one. And I just looking at them, okay? And I'm going to tell you my opinion and my observation just looking at the product itself. And I'll just tell you what I think and give you my 2 cents worth. And that's probably all it's worth. But that's even, less than, that's much more than what you paid, which is 0. So I'm going to flip this camera around and we're going to take a look, and I'll share my thoughts and my observations. And down in the comments below, you can share your thoughts and observations. If you do canning, what do you use? Have you had any issues? Have you seen a change in the last couple of years? I will say that is a really consistent theme across many YouTube channels. A lot of people are observing that quality has decreased over the last couple of years. And if I remember, I'll come back and tell you why that might be. So let's turn the camera around. We'll take a look at these lids. All right, so what we have here, and I'm going to use this very high quality Ganzo knife. That's a joke, by the way. It's a pretty good knife, though. We have some lids from Ball. We have mainstays, and if you're not familiar with mainstays, I consider this like a Walmart brand. And I got them at Walmart. Made in the USA, by the way. Ball mainstays made in China. I have Superb, which I saw a lot of recommendations on Superb. Made in the United States. And then I have this Anchor and Hawking, which I had never really heard of until about a month ago. But my understanding is this is also very popular. I live in Maine, and there's a ton of this, the jars as well as the lids and the rings. Also made in the United States. So all made in the United States except for mainstays. And let's start with the Ball. Here's what I've seen, and I think you can see it in the reflection of the light, okay? You can see that there's an imperfection right here. And I think this is part of the process where they apply this material, this rubberized seal. And you can also see there's an indentation right here. In every single Ball lid that I looked at, and I've got quite a few, I see a lot of imperfections. There's another one right here. There's like a bump. And that could be a bubble that's inside there. And I see that a lot with the Ball. Now, I don't know if Ball has always been that way or if this is something new. It doesn't mean it's not going to work. It doesn't mean it's not going to seal. I'm just giving my observations from a manufacturing perspective that looks for consistency in manufacturing. Ball, there's a ton of inconsistencies, and I see this on every single lid that I picked up. Okay? So, let's move on to the mainstays, okay? Made in China, mainstays. This is probably the most consistent lid that I've seen. Extremely consistent. Appears to be extremely high quality as far as appearance and consistency and uniformity of the material from lid to lid. Very, very consistent. Now, I will say, for those of you that are in manufacturing, and maybe you know a little bit about lean manufacturing, the Toyota production system, and how Japan back in the 80s ruled the world when it came to manufacturing. And China's right up there. There's a reason why China can compete so well. Maybe that should be another video. But bottom line is, very, very consistent. I'm not telling you that these are good. I'm not telling you that they're better than the ones made in the United States. And I'm not saying that you should go buy lids that are made in China. I'm also not telling you that you shouldn't. If your goal is to can and have successful canning, these may do it better than the Ball. I don't know. I'm going to use these as well as all of them and see for myself. This is just an observation. So we go on to Superb. And I will say these are fantastic. These are uniformity. It's very close to mainstays. You can see right here, there's a little bit of inconsistency. But I see very little of the bubbles or the bumps. It's very, very consistent. And I will also say that this blue sealing material really comes across as thicker than all the other ones. The mainstays and the Ball are similar, as well as the Anchor and Hawking as far as thickness goes. I do have a set of micrometers. I should have measured it, but I could tell just from the feel and looking at it, the Superb is thicker. And that might be why I saw so many recommendations on the Superb. really look good. And this little imperfection, again, I call it an imperfection. It's inconsistency. Probably really has no impact on the sealing process. I really like these, and right now I'm going to be ordering more of these. This anchor and hocking, to me, it looks really close to the ball. Obviously, there's a slight color difference. I'm sure it's not, but I wouldn't be surprised if these weren't made in the same manufacturing company. They look very similar, and I will say, and I want to look at it again. This seal is very thin. I mean, I was talking about that inconsistency. Look right there. That's what I'm talking about. From somebody that's a manufacturing expert, there's a problem there. I know ball is super popular and people are stuck on it, but there's something up with what they're doing. Ball, if you're watching, reach out to me. Send me to your plant. I'll come in and I'll get you on the right path. So the anchor and hocking, one thing I will say is it's more consistent than the ball, but this material is really thin. Extremely thin. Thinner than all the other ones. Now, that doesn't mean it's not good enough. It's an observation. Do with it what you want. But I will say that this sealing material and my understanding of what it does, that's concerning to me. So I can tell you right now, out of all of these, the anchor and hocking, I'm not buying anymore. And it's just because this is so thin, I can absolutely see a problem with it holding a seal. Now, I'm sure there's going to be people out there, and please comment below if you have experience with this, that you've done, dozens and dozens or hundreds of jars and you've never had a problem. Yeah, please share that. The ball, even though there's a lot of inconsistencies, it's a little thicker in the sealing material. So those imperfections may not matter at all. Might work just fine. The mainstays are inexpensive. I want to say they're probably about 60% the cost of the ball. And it's thicker here and more consistent. It's the most consistent out of all of them. But I can tell you right now, my favorite is the Superb. I'm going to be ordering more of these because I'm stocking up right now. And I'm going to order more of the Superb. I think it's superb. Yeah, I had to do it. So, my opinion is from ball to mainstays to Superb to anchor hocking, Superb beats the other ones. And again, I'm only looking at it from a manufacturing perspective, from a consistency. I can't say in real world use. And that's probably most important. So if you have real world use and you have an opinion, please comment below. But I'm going to be stocking up on some Superb. I already have quite a bit of ball. And I'm going to use them. And what we have done was ball. We haven't had a problem. So if I can get my hands on some other brands, because there's other ones out there. Kerr is one I was trying to find. And I could not find just the lids. Now, I know it's owned by the same company as ball. But that doesn't mean the lids are the same. So I wanted to check those out. Anyways, I hope this has helped. Maybe a little. Maybe it's provided you a little bit of entertainment. I appreciate if you hit that like button. If you want more content like this, hit that subscribe button. And share with some like-minded folks. Comment below your own experience and your own thoughts. I appreciate you stopping by. You guys stay safe. Take care. We'll see you next time.
So I ran from the cities and the noise and lies, found a piece of ground under open skies. hands in the dirt, sweat on my shirt, learning what living's really worth. While crooked men shake hands in rooms, selling souls to corporate suits. Society's sick, but I found the cure. A back road life, honest and pure. They can keep their throne and their golden news. This life out here's my modern exodus. I traded screens for a sunrise, callous palms, blisters, pride. Planted seeds where hope was.